Thank you for listening to the Following Films podcast. Today I'm joined by Avy Kaufman. Avy is a casting director for film and television. Since 1987, she's worked in casting more than 150 television productions. Kaufman has worked with directors including Steven Spielberg, Lee and Wes Craven. Her casting credits include the psychological thriller film The Sixth Sense, the romantic drama Brokeback Mountain, and the crime drama film Public Enemies. I had Avy on the show today to talk about her latest project, Fellow Travelers. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks.
Hi.
Hey, Avy, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the time today to do this. I appreciate it.
Oh, look at your backdrop. Those are all tapes that you've done. Amazing.
Oh yeah, all movies back there. So yeah, I'm a bit of a movie nerd. So
nice.
Well, I'm really glad to be talking to you today. Because I mean, I've been a fan of your work for a long time now, but I've been wanting to talk to a casting director with the announcement this year that the Oscars are finally going to recognize your category, and just to have that coming around, I'm wondering. A lot of people probably don't really understand what a casting director does and how important that job is. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what your role is in the production of a film.
Well, from what do they say? Soup to nuts. Is that?
Yeah, soup to nuts. Yeah.
Nuts. We bring the words to life is kind of how I see it. We go from the page to the screen. We read a script and visualize or hear or use our guts, or how in the world these characters can come to life, and who can do that, and who's best to do that, and who does that together in a big ensemble, and who leads that. So, we read the script and we put together either auditions or film clips and show them to the creative team, and they ultimately make the decision. And hopefully they they want to include casting people with what we think. We go from there.
So then what level of casting are you typically involved in? Is it really just from the background players to the stars of the film, or is it just does that change project to project?
I work on anyone who speaks.
Okay.
And sometimes the leads, the movie stars are attached.
Sure.
Sometimes we attach them. And then other times I'm asked to, like they call them special extras. If an actor's talking to somebody, but they don't have lines, but they need a reaction, I'll cast that role as well.
Oh, okay. And is there a type of collaboration that you prefer when you're working with the creative team?
I love to be honest.
It's helpful, isn't it?
It is so helpful. It is so helpful. Without being combative, because I know that if I see something, I want everybody to see what I see, but I have to okay. But I've worked with so many different people to where good experiences are cherished.
Well, you often get to be the first person that sees somebody and says, "Oh, they've got that thing. That's somebody that nobody knows who they are now, but 2 years from now, everybody's going to know that name." So what is that thing when you see it? And are there any specific examples of that? Because when I look through your career, I see several, and I'm just wondering if there's ones that stand out to you.
I mean, how thrilled and happy I am that if I cast someone in the beginning of their career and then they get to grow with that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, happy, and it has happened a bunch, and it helps me believe that my gut is okay.
Because in the end, that's really what you're going on. There's not a science to it. It's just you have this feeling and you have to trust that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's a good thing I'm not a doctor, but yeah, that's exactly it.
Do you talk a little bit about times when you've maybe gone outside of where you've made casting choices or suggestions that have been outside of what maybe would be the normal type for a role, where you would say, well, it's written this way and we could go in this direction, but I'm thinking if we went this way, it could add something special to this role. If that makes sense.
It makes so much sense. And I don't have, I'm sure nothing's knocking on my door in my brain right now, but I know that, I know there's been situations, not like, could it be a female instead of a male, but
Sure.
So often if it's written like there was something I worked on a couple of years ago. It was not written as a Latin person, but I didn't even care if it was Latin. It was that particular actor I knew would be something special. So, it just, it creates something bigger for the show because it brings in another voice that nobody heard before, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. That's actually very well said. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit specifics. I could go through for hours through your career, but there was this series Ripley that just came out, and that is one that stands out as something that was so beautifully cast because not only do you have a novel that you're working against, you have a really well-known film that you're working against. And by the end of that first episode, I think you're forgetting all of the original material and you're actually in these new characters embodying these, even in familiar situations. And that really does come down to performance for me.
I gotta like give Steve Zalian all of the credit.
He's pretty amazing.
When I saw Ripley, I cast that like 4 years, like a long time before the pandemic. And when I saw it, I mean, Steve blows me away. I've been lucky enough to work with him for years, but I couldn't, every element is good. Every performance I'm deeply proud of, but everything that went with it was just.
Today's episode of the Following Films podcast is brought to you by Bookmans. Are your shelves groaning under the weight of unread novels and forgotten movies? Does your attic hold a secret collection of vinyl waiting to be rediscovered? At Bookmans Entertainment Exchange, Arizona's favorite haven for pre-loved treasures, they turn your clutter into cash or store credit. But Bookmans is far more than a used bookstore. Bookmans is a cinematic journey. You can relive your favorite films or discover hidden cinematic gems. They have an extensive DVD and Blu-ray collection that offers something for every movie buff, from cult classics to box office hits. Bookmans is a symphony of sound. Dust off your headphones and get lost in the world of music. They offer a vast selection of CD and vinyl records, encompassing everything from classic rock to contemporary pop and everything in between. Bookmans is a gamer's paradise. You can level up your gaming experience with their diverse collection of used video games. From retro consoles to the latest releases, you'll find everything you need to conquer virtual worlds at fantastic pre-owned prices. Bookmans is the home for the curious. If you're looking for that unique piece to add a touch of personality to your space, explore their curated selection of home goods, including vintage finds, decorative items, and even musical instruments. Bookmans is also, goes without saying, a universe of books. From timeless classics to the latest bestsellers, their meticulously curated selection caters to every genre and interest. Whether you're a sci-fi fanatic or a history buff, they have the perfect book to ignite your imagination. Don't let your pre-loved items gather dust. Bookmans offers a hassle-free way to give them a second life. Just go ahead and bring in your used books, movies, music, video games, and even some home goods, and their friendly staff will assess their value. You can choose to receive cash on the spot or store credit to explore their incredible selection. And when you choose Bookmans, you'll know that you're supporting local. They're a proudly locally owned, operated business, supporting the Arizona community. They have an unbeatable selection with a vast array of used media, and you'll always find something new and exciting to discover. And it's eco-friendly. By shopping pre-loved, you're giving items a second life and reducing your environmental footprint. And it's always a great value, because Bookmans offers competitive prices that ensure you get the best deal on your favorite books, movies, and music. Make sure you visit Bookmans today if you're ready to embark on a journey of discovery. Head to your local Bookmans Entertainment Exchange, browse their shelves, unearth a hidden gem, and turn your unused items into cash or store credit. And remember, Bookman's has your cool covered. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks. It's one of those things that you can watch that series from any number of angles. You could watch it from just a performance side. You could watch it from a purely technical side. You could just watch it as a thriller. The uncomfortable moments that go on for so much longer than a normal show would allow that to go. It has,
no,
my God, it just dwells in those moments. It's so amazing.
But it's so curious that the beats and the timing, because that isn't something I always notice, but you're actually put there to feel it.
Well, if you were in one of these situations where you had to get rid of a body, it's not going to be what we see in a movie where it's this, two quick cut scenes and it's pretty and it's done and it's wrapped up. You're going to have that anxiety and the dread that builds over that while you're going through it. And you have to sit in that for a while. And it's just, my God, it is an uncomfortable watch that I just highly recommend. I just really love that series. So,
well, the only thing that saddened me about that is I love that actor so much. Yeah. And I said to Steve, I was scared to push him a whole lot because sometimes you push too much and then, people, but I didn't want him to die because I love him so much. I wanted him to keep coming back. So I was glad that there were like memories of him before that kept coming to screen.
Absolutely. And how about talking about Fellow Travelers? What was your experience like on that?
Beautiful, beautiful. I had just done a film. I was casting a film that fell apart, and I had just met Jonathan Bailey. Mm-hmm. And then I got offered this just like a month later. And when I read it, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that one fell apart because it's got to be Jonathan Bailey with Matt Bomer. They have to be together. So that turned into I'm not one of those trust what comes next, but it was good that movie fell apart because they were perfect together, I thought.
Hindsight is really wonderful at perspective and making you realize it's in the time, it still sucks when you're going through it. So.
I'm not one of those that happens for the best until it happens for the best.
No, you look back at it and you go, oh, these events lined out and it all makes sense. And I'm so happy I got what I did out of this. Still hurt at the time though. So yeah, I get that. And so then do you have a preference for working in television or working on film? Is just between the two mediums? Because you seem to vacillate back and forth between the two pretty seamlessly.
TV's kind of new, really. I mean, no, I don't. They're very different. They're very, because the television, you put a cast together and then the second episode you have to, who will go with that first episode? Who can you bring in that? And it keeps going and going and going. And the film, you like read the film script, so I think it is very different, but it's fun to do both.
I had never thought about it, and it just the way you were describing that just clicked something in my mind that it's almost like Babette's Feast, where you're not thinking about just the main course, you're thinking of the appetizer, you're thinking of all these. How is this going to impact something that happens 7 hours down the road from now? How is this going to be all come together in the end? And it seems like that would be a much more complicated process than okay.
Because you don't get all the scripts in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't always. So when all of a sudden I get the 5th episode, I have to see who works.
And it has to feel like it was something that you knew the whole time. Because it's not like you're playing catch up, which is what Right. Of course. Got it. So is there any type of project that you haven't worked on yet that you'd want to?
It's funny because I was in my office the other day and I have some pictures of films that I've done. And this one actor said to me, "Oh, I didn't know you did comedy." I'm not really offered that much comedy, but it's fun because a lot of people, I don't know what people think of me, but that was just an interesting note from that one actor.
That's interesting because you've definitely done things that have had comedy in them.
Oh, no. Yeah. I completely agree. And that's why I was I was surprised when he said that, because when he thinks of me, he said he doesn't think of that. But working with great people is the joy.
Yeah.
Doing it all together and being a team and being a solid team, that's the joy.
I could only imagine. And you get the chance to look back at some of the body of work, these things that you've worked on, and it's been really impressive. And there's one other one that I will always take a moment to mention when I have the chance, and it's Dopesick, because I think that is just an incredible series.
Oh, I love that you said that. I
out of like looking through everything on here, that's one of the ones, like, I'm literally getting goosebumps like thinking about this. And that is, it's if people haven't seen it, I just highly recommend going out and check it. It's something that, it's a story that is unfortunate, one that we need to watch and we need to own and take this in, and really, yeah, it helps us understand where we are right now.
I'm going to tell you, and I love you for bringing that up, because I feel the same way. And my younger son had an accident, and he was given pills, and he hadn't seen Dopesick yet, and he saw it, and he got off the pain pill. He had a motorcycle accident, and I hate motorcycles, so it was like, and he literally got rid of all of those pills because he saw Dopesick.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I know. And because of Dopesick, I've gotten to know Michael Keaton, who everyone has stories that are just important. Very, very important.
That's something that it's touched everybody. There's nobody that has been unaffected by that crisis. So
that. Yeah. Thank you for that.
And it's such a beautifully cast series, because there's so many roles, so many moving parts in that is a sweeping story, but it somehow, it still feels very small and intimate at the same time, which is something that's really tough to have. I mean, you probably have, I'm assuming 50-ish speaking roles in that series, if not more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A whole bunch.
And it's just, but nobody feels one note in that. Everybody feels fully fleshed out. I mean, and there's some really interesting work going all the way up and down. So if somebody hasn't seen that, definitely check that out, because that's a hell of a series, something that I think it needs to be remembered for years to come. But thank you so much for taking the time to do this today, Avy. It was really nice to meet you. I really appreciate it. So yeah.
But thank you. Lovely to speak with you. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Time enough to figure you out. Time enough to write this down. Wish me luck, give me hope. So what voice crack.